4:55 p.m. Eastern. Before we get started, media are reminded to apply for credentials by logging on to orangebowl.org and selecting credential applications from the media drop-down tab. Credentials are limited this year due to capacity restrictions. Credentials must be submitted regardless of whether an outlet is planning to cover the game in person or virtually. And the deadline to apply for credentials is Wednesday, December 23rd. A recording of today's video conference will be available on orangebowl.org shortly after the press conference. We'll be sending out links as soon as we're done with Coach Brown and Coach Fisher. Quotes are going to be available on the website as well under the media section tab. For today's Zoom press conference, please keep yourself muted. Use the raise hand function to ask a question. I'll recognize you when it is your turn to ask a question. You can then unmute your line and identify yourself and your affiliation. This year's game will be played on Saturday, January 2nd at Hard Rock Stadium and televised by ESPN at 8 p.m. Eastern. North Carolina comes in with an 8-3 overall record and a 7-3 ACC record. This is their first appearance in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Although Coach Mack Brown was here in 1985 as the offensive coordinator for Barry Switzer's Oklahoma Sooners. I will now turn it over to Coach Mack Brown for brief remarks before we open it up for questions. So, Coach, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I was also there with LSU when we played Nebraska as an assistant coach for Jerry Stovall. So I've been involved with the Orange Bowl twice, and obviously one of the great experiences of my life. And now I can't wait to come back as a head coach and let our guys experience the same thing. It's such an honor to be chosen. But you always want to have a good matchup when you're in a bowl game, and we got one of the best in the country. It's feasible that A&M could have been chosen in the top 4 today because they've sure earned that right. And we're in a long, hard discussion last night and this morning, I'm sure. But our guys are very excited to be where we were 2 years ago to now getting to play in a January 2 Bowl in Miami in the Orange Bowl is really exciting for us. A&M's been in this neighborhood before. This is new for us. So we're not familiar with this, but we're learning each week something new. We played Notre Dame down to the end and didn't do well offensively the second half. And then we learned enough from that we were able to beat Miami, number 10. So this will be another great challenge for us to finish our season.
All right. Thank you, Coach. We're going to open it up for questions now. Again, please use the raise hand function to ask a question. I'll call on you. Please identify yourself and your affiliation. So we will start here with Tim Reynolds. I'm going to ask you to unmute, and then you unmute yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Brian. Hi, Mac. Congratulations on the bid.
Thank you, Tim.
Mac, I guess 2 questions, if I might. One, I think we were all watching television when they showed Notre Dame as number 4, and that pretty much, we sort of knew what the Orange Bowl matchup was going to be at that point. Were you surprised to see Texas A&M not get in? And then as the follow-up, just coming back to Miami after you guys played so well here, just what kind of a feather in the hat can that be for a really good season for you guys? Thanks again.
Well, thank you, Tim. Tim, I spent 5 years on the TV set. So I was involved in these shows for 5 years. And I can honestly say everybody has different opinions of who should be in. And I would like to see us expand the playoff system, because there's no doubt that A&M deserves to be in. And then you start looking at Cincinnati and that argument. And then you start looking at Florida and Georgia and Oklahoma. And you start looking at the great teams that are out there. And should we have a 6-team playoff? Should we have an 8-team playoff? Some people think 12 and maybe cut down the regular season, because I do think we should do anything we can possibly do to keep all of the fans involved in the excitement of college football at the end. And I think the playoffs have kind of hurt some of especially the smaller bowls. And we're seeing more guys that are opting out and doing things like that. So does A&M deserve to be in? Absolutely. If there were 5 or 6 teams, they would be in. But who do you take out? So I sat there all the time and tried to make those decisions. And you'll sit there and think you know what you're talking about, and then somebody will give another side of it and say, yeah, that's true. And but the committee does a great job of figuring it all out. And we're just lucky to be in the Orange Bowl playing a great opponent with Jimbo. As far as coming back to Miami, we wouldn't be in this game unless we had beaten Miami. And Miami was the number 10 team in the country. So the guys will enjoy preparation for the game. They've already been there. They know the stadium and will have tremendous respect for the opponent. So it'll be fun for us.
All right. Next up, we have Greg Barnes.
Hey, Mack. When you took this job 2 years ago, you talked about there being unfinished business for you. Where does this accomplishment, reaching the Orange Bowl, fall in that order of items you had on your list?
Greg, I had some texts from friends today that said last time you were here in the end of your second year, you were 2-20. So you must have learned something. You're making progress here. But really, from 2 wins 3 years ago to an Orange Bowl bid, that's tremendous strides for our program. And I'm proud of these guys. I'm proud for our fans. We haven't been in this neighborhood. We haven't been to major bowl games. And so this is just a step forward for us. And to do this now, you've got to play a great team that's one of the best in the country. And I've told our guys, if you want to live in the neighborhood of the best in the country, then you got to beat the best in the country. So it'll be a real fun challenge for us. But for the second year, for us to be able to play in this ball game is really significant. These kids have been incredible, especially in a year of COVID. They've been able to do what's right. They've been able to play 11 games. We've had some tough games that they came back afterwards and picked themselves up, and we continue to get better. And we're a really, really young team, Greg. So this should really help us playing Notre Dame and Miami and A&M at the end here, playing 3 of the best opponents in the country, 3 top 10 opponents as we get ready to start next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have Travis Brown.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good, Travis.
Hey, I know A&M is a program that you have some familiarity with in your past. When you think about A&M as a program, what are some of the things that stands out to you?
Travis, are we kin to each other?
Do what?
Are we kin to each other? Have you got any Tennessee background? Are you?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay, I didn't know. Just wondering. Travis, Texas A&M is one of the best programs in the country, and I always love going to play them at College Station. I mean those fans are unbelievable. The place is as loud as any place I've ever been to coach against, and the loyalty of those fans is just amazing to me. And they're always good. And Jimbo won a national championship at LSU as an assistant. Then he wins a national championship at Florida State. And he's really got A&M playing at a very high level. So this will be a tremendous challenge for us, but one that we're looking forward to because it just gives us another opportunity to see how far we need to go to get where they are.
Yeah, Coach, my people are Longview people, so okay. Sorry about that.
Well, Longview, Cookeville, Tennessee, there's a lot of similarities.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have Bryce Kuhn.
Coach, first off, congratulations on the opportunity. I know you're excited as well as the players.
Thanks, Brian.
Wanted to ask you this. For the seniors that were a part of that kind of this rebuild, what does it mean for you to see these guys? They're going to be graduating or leaving. They get an opportunity to play on one of the biggest stages nationally that they've had in a long time. Talk about that and then also kind of parlay it as well for recruiting. You're hauling in some great recruiting classes. What does this do for North Carolina as a program and for those seniors?
Bryce, first, the seniors could have left when I got here. They decided to stay. They fought through a year last year, and we had to win our last game last year to get to a bowl game. And then they go to the Military Bowl and they win. And then coming back this year, we didn't know. Our expectations were probably better than our experiences at that time. And we got rated 5th in the country before everybody was playing. So that was a little facetious, but it was what it was. And we've been very honest with them. And then we are a team that just keeps getting better. We've gotten better and better each week. They haven't quit. They've played hard every week. When they've been behind, they've come back. So all of that is talking about senior leadership. and the way that those guys have stepped up and made sure. In fact, early this summer when we had our spike in COVID, the older guys got all the younger ones together, and I didn't even know it. And they said, we want to play. If you want to play, then clean it up and don't go out, don't go to parties, and don't go in groups. If you don't want to play, that's fine, but leave. And we haven't had problems since. So I think that again bodes well for that leadership. As far as our program, recruiting is going really, really well. This only shows people that this North Carolina program at this time is different. We have a chance to accomplish things because the league's different than when I was here before. It was the BCS, it was Florida State and the rest of us. And at one time it was Clemson and the rest of us. But now we've got Clemson, who's been the dominant program in this league. We've got Notre Dame, who came in for this year and dominated. But everybody understands there is a path now to get to the college football playoff where before there wasn't. So we've got one of the best teams in the country in front of us in Clemson, but all of us in this league know that we've got to really pick our game up before we can have a chance to beat a Clemson. And to do that, you've got to learn to play with the Notre Dames, the Miamis last week, and then the Texas A&Ms in this game. So I'm really excited, not only that we got here, the publicity that it will give us for recruiting, but also the challenge of playing such a great team, because our guys need to see what it's like to be the 5th team in the country. And we'll get that experience here in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Andrew Jones.
Hey, Coach, your 96 and 97 teams, the last two that you had your first time at Carolina, thought they probably should have been in a game like this. And 23 years later, in your second year in stint 2, you've got the team in a game like this. Are you allowing yourself to have any personal gratification over being able to deliver this quickly? And Greg mentioned something about unfinished business, maybe kind of connecting back to your last couple of years at Carolina and actually getting there now?
Andrew, I haven't yet. Today's just been a whirlwind, and I wanted the number one, we had to make sure we were in the Orange Bowl, and number two, then you got to make sure who you're playing. But I actually stopped our team meeting in the middle and watched the ESPN television report of the announcement, because I wanted the kids to see it and feel it and understand the incredible accomplishments that they've had over 2 years here from where we were to where we are. I do remember being disappointed our last year here when we were 10-1, I think, and 4th in the country, and we didn't have a chance to go to what would be considered a major bowl at that time. So this is a huge accomplishment for our program and for our team, and now we've got to play well, because we want this to be who we are. We want this to be every year and not something that's so unique for us. But as far as me personally, I've been to a lot of the great bowls. Our sports information director at Texas texted me this morning and said, "You've never been here, another box that you check off." And I thought, nah, I've been here twice as an assistant, but never taking a team. So this will be a wonderful experience for our kids. And there'll never be a team that'll be more excited about coming to the bowl game than ours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. We have about 5 minutes left. Next question is for Jeff Snook.
Mack, just talk about, you're a Florida State graduate. Jimbo won a title at Florida State. He goes to A&M, which was a rival of yours for a long time. How often have you crossed paths with him over the years?
I haven't crossed paths with Jimbo that much. I really did during my TV days, because Florida State played a lot of Friday night games when I was calling Friday night games. So I actually got to spend some real quality time with Jimbo talking about game plans and his program on Thursday night before those Friday night games, and got to call maybe 3 of his games in 3 years. I think Boston College, maybe 2 of those 3. But it was a lot of fun to be able to visit with him. And he's tough, he's smart. They're a very physical team. It'll be a great learning experience for us to play a team that's just physical, and that they run the football. They're great with play action. He knows what he's doing offensively. Mike Elko is someone that's known in these parts from the Wake Forest days to the Notre Dame days. So this will be one of the best, one of the more well-coached teams in the country. And I really admire and respect what Jimbo's done everywhere he's been.
You know that program well, and the facilities they have and the emphasis they put on winning and et cetera, et cetera. When he took the job, what were your expectations of how soon he might have a season like this, even though it has been shortened a little bit?
Yeah, I think that Jimbo has gotten it to this point much quicker than I thought he would. It's to be in that division in the SEC and to be able to compete like he has and put his team in a position that arguably should be in the Final Four today. And half of the people that are arguing would say that they should be in there. I think it's amazing what he's been able to accomplish in such a short time.
All right, next question is from Chris Heidel.
Hey, Coach Brown, how you doing?
Good, Chris.
Just talk about you guys going to the Orange Bowl. What does it mean for your program, knowing that you came back, after your first time around? Now you guys going to the Orange Bowl.
Chris, what you want is verification to your players and your staff that what you're doing is working, and they're reaping a reward at the end of the second year that most people don't get a chance to do. So just the simple fact that we've been chosen and that people are giving our program that much credit at this stage really reinforces what we're trying to do moving forward.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Olin Buchanan.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. Mack, I just want to ask you, is there any specific memories, any incidents, games, events that from the series with A&M when you were coach at Texas that really stands out to you?
Olin, absolutely, and it's the bonfire event, the 10 days there. I remember when we lost 12 young people that were working on the bonfire, and the bonfire fell in on them, and I remember driving to work on a Thursday, 10 days or a week before the ball game. It was the open date before the A&M game on Thanksgiving, and hearing on the radio that 12 young students at A&M had lost their lives working on a traditional bonfire. And as a parent, it just took me back, and I stopped, and I really started crying. And I heard on the radio that parents call this number to check on your kids. And then they said, no, the lines are just overloaded, so you're going to have to drive to College Station. And I thought, you're going to have to drive to see if your kids are alive. And then I called Sally and said, what do we do? And she said, well, all we can do is pray for the families that have lost their children, but there's some others hurt. Let's start a blood drive. So we actually started a blood drive that afternoon, and there were Houston and Texas Tech and TCU fans and Baylor fans and A&M fans, and R.C. Slocum to this day is a dear friend of mine. And we all tried to pull together and see, should we have the game or not? And then we canceled our pep rally and had a memorial with a lot of A&M students. And then it was an unbelievable day at the game, because I thought we probably shouldn't play the game. And I told RC, whatever you all want, we'll do. And then not only did we play the game, but I think we were ahead 16-0 at halftime. They came back and beat us 21-16 and right in the end. And I thought that that's one of the few times in my life that it was probably a really good healing experience for A&M. So I'm not sure that it wasn't best for them to have won that game. But Olin, that's a memory that every year at Thanksgiving, I think about those families and those kids that were lost.
All right. Well, thank you, Mack.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Coach Brown. That's all the time we have for now. We'll see you down here in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Now we're going to be joined by head coach of the 5th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies, Jimbo Fisher. The Aggies come in with an 8-1 overall record and an SEC record. This is their second appearance in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Their first appearance was 77 years ago in 1944. This is Coach Fisher's third appearance in the Capital One Orange Bowl as a head coach, winning in both 2013 and 2016 at the helm of Florida State. So I'll now turn it over to Coach Fisher for brief remarks before we open it up for questions. Coach?
Hey, hello, everyone. It's great to be with you. Very excited to be in the Orange Bowl. This is one of the most prestigious and historic games in the history of our bowl games. I always remember as a child on the last day of New Year's Day at 8 o'clock when the Orange Bowl, having that last game when you watched them all day, and you finished with the Orange Bowl and had the great halftime shows and the great Oklahoma teams, the great Nebraska teams that used to play in it all the time. Florida State, where I actually first saw Florida State when they played Oklahoma. Loved them. The great Miami game with all those games in the history, and to be a part of it again, been able to be blessed to be able to do it twice. It's one of the most well-ran, classy games that you can be a part of. Very excited for A&M to be back 77 years ago. I'll have to ask my mom. She's 84, so I'll have to ask her if she remembers that and see if that's okay. I don't quite remember that. I'm getting up there. I'm not that old yet. But great to be back. Great to, get A&M brand across the country and be in any other games, and be in the Orange Bowl and the Classic and be a part of that great history and tradition is a great honor. We're really happy and excited to be in the game and play a great opponent in North Carolina. And like I say, having Mack Brown, who I think is one of the great coaches in college football and probably end up being a Hall of Fame coach, and won his national championships in 250, 60 games, however many he's won. Great guy, great opponent. He's done a tremendous job with North Carolina to get them in the Orange Bowl, and how quick he was there and how what that program was when he took over. It's an amazing accomplishment again, but it doesn't surprise you. Everywhere Mack goes, he wins, and that's going to be a very well-coached football team who's playing great football and had a great win down there against Miami just a few weeks ago to put them in it. And now we're going to have our hands full. We need to play a great game, but we're excited and blessed to be there, and looking forward to finish this season. Questions?
All right, we'll go ahead and we'll start with Tim Reynolds again. Go ahead, Tim.
Jimbo, I would say congratulations, but it just seems so awkward today. And having been at both of your Orange Bowls, haven't heard you talk about them in the past. I know what the game means to you. Well, what is the level of frustration today, Jimbo, that you're feeling? I mean,
there's no frustration. We're excited to be going to the Orange Bowl. We're in a New Year's Six game. We're in a New Year's Six game against a great opponent, and we're very happy to be there, and there's no frustration at all.
Mack said that he thought that you guys belonged in the playoff. How appreciative, I guess, were you to hear him share that sentiment?
Well, especially from somebody who knows football as well as Mack does, and one of the great coaches. But that's this world we live in. I mean, you get in, you get out, and you got to move on. You go to the future, and listen, we got an opportunity to play in the Orange Bowl. That's like I said, one of the great games of bowl games in the history of this game, and having the tradition to be another part of that game and play a great opponent like North Carolina and have Mack as one of the great coaches in college football. I think it's a great matchup for us, and it's a great opportunity for us to continue to grow and build our brand and build our program to where we want it to go.
Thank you, Jimbo.
All right. Next question is from Chuck Carlton. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, Jimbo, I know you've moved on, but I know some of your players expressed and your staff even expressed disappointment with the coming in fifth at the CFP. I was just curious your thoughts about that, how that played out the last 24 hours.
Well, no, it wasn't. It's like having a bad play. You get disappointed for a minute, and then you play the next play. I mean, you move on. That's life. We've had a great opportunity. We've had a great year. We've done great things, and we put ourselves in a position to be in it, but we weren't. So now it's time to move on, and we're not, you wanted to be in it, but at the same time, we're in the Orange Bowl, man. We can progress, keep going, doing what we're doing, and everybody does that, but our players have moved on. They were excited when we announced that we were able to play in the Orange Bowl. They were very excited, knowing that A&M hadn't been there, and I couldn't tell them how many years. Now I know it's 77. I know it's pre-World War II, so or somewhere in that range right in there, so it was pretty good.
All right, next question's from Sam Kahn. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Jimbo, I'm curious if you had any power, any say in it, what would you change, if anything, about the selection process in the college football playoff?
Oh, I mean, listen, you got great people on who do a great job. You can complain about every selection that's made. It's like, all right, who complains about every call I make? Well, we should have ran the ball. We should have thrown the ball. We should have done this. We should have done that. I mean, that's life. I mean, those people do a great job. They spend all year doing it. They gather the information. They do one heck of a job, and they came to conclusion and did it. I wouldn't change anything.
Okay, next question is Zach Braziller. Go ahead, Zach.
Jimbo, Mack had just talked about expanding the playoffs to 6 teams, to 8 teams. What are your thoughts on that? And this year, you've seen a lot of other sports kind of with all the uncertainty going on, adding teams to the playoffs to, for fan engagement. Would that have been something you think would have been a smart decision for college football?
You know, I've said this and I said it the other day, and it's not because we were fifth right now, but I think the playoff does need to get expanded because you're not encompassing all the conferences. You're not encompassing all the things. And listen, you can't, it's hard to judge strength of schedule. You're not crossing over who you're playing, what you're playing, getting a non-Power 5 team in there to a Power 5 team. There's so many things. The only way you're going to find out is expand the playoffs. Now, I'm a traditionalist, and I never thought I would ever say that. I really didn't because I love the bowl games, the history. I think it took away from the nostalgia of our game. And then what Orange Bowl means, what the Sugar Bowl means, what the Fiesta Bowl means, what the Cotton Bowl means, what the Peach Bowl means, what the old Blue Bonnet Bowl. I mean, whatever they are. I mean, although all those games, I'm a true traditionalist in that. But I just think today's times and the changes we've made, I never thought it would come out of my mouth like this, but we do. And I think it matters to kids, matters to people. And there's no easy way to judge this thing and get it as fair. And it may not always be, but I think if you expand it more and include the bowl games in it, I think you have to going in the future. And I truly believe it's got to happen.
Our next question for Jeff Snook. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Jimbo, just if you look at the history of college football back to 98, the top two teams of BCS, now the last 6 playoff years, the one team that was 5th or 3rd that got left out, they went one of two ways. They were flat, their heads were somewhere else, were disappointed, or they were extremely motivated and took it out on the other team. How do you keep your team in the latter as opposed to the former there?
You know, I hope we're neither. I don't hope we're motivated. I don't hope we're mad. I hope we're doing our job as a football team and what we want to do and accomplish as a program, because that's what we do at A&M. It's to play great football when the next game steps up, whatever the circumstances, whatever the consequences. You always you can create a chip on your shoulder. You can create all, but if those are the real reasons you have to motivate yourself to play, your program's not where it needs to be. I believe that. I think it's the next game, it's the next play, it's the next situation, whatever it may be, you handle it and move on, because that's what you do as a human being and you move on in life. I know, hopefully we're neither one. I hope we're just ready to play a very good North Carolina football team who's a very well-coached team I have a lot of respect for, and that we do our job and play our best game.
All right, next question for Andrew Jones. Go ahead, Andrew. You there, Andrew? All right, well, we'll go next question here for Travis Brown. Travis, you there?
Yeah, hey, Coach. Just curious, with what a lot of your players said on social media and stuff, a lot of it they felt like A&M's brand, A&M's name is what held them out over Notre Dame. How do you address that, have those conversations with your players to kind of give them a different perspective on the program after what happened?
I don't. That's what they say on social media. That's their belief. You want your brand to be better, play better, do what you handle your business. I don't. I mean, I don't get into all those things. I don't believe in all those things. We're going to play our game, do what we do, and handle our business. We have a great brand. A&M is a tremendous brand, and we're building it each and every day. We'll be consistency in the things we do and how we play, and that's what you can handle. Control what you can control and move on. I really don't. I don't know what they said on social media because I don't have it.
And then also Coach Brown said that y'all had some time. We had some time to be able to bond when he was doing the TV analyst stuff. What were some of that relationship building like between the two of you?
It was actually really fun because you got an old coach who really understood what you're going through and what goes on. And no offense to anybody in the media, but understanding you can have some deep conversations and really understand what you were doing and where your team was and why you're doing things. And I thought he did a great job as an analyst. Mack's a very intelligent guy. Always has been successful in everything he's done. It was very, very fun being around him. I enjoyed Mack. Still, like I say, I still consider him a friend. Like I said, we haven't been around a lot, but occasionally we'll text each other, see a message or something like that. And I think he does an outstanding job. But it was very fun to be around Mack. He was very bright. And like I say, you got to have some deep conversations about ball. And you don't always get to go into that detail. No offense to a lot of announcers, but he's an ex-ball coach. So, you had some great conversations to go there.
All right, next question for Tyler Shaw.
Coach, did you even surprise yourself at all? Third year here, did you think before this year started you guys would be in this situation, a 5th ranked team and playing in the Orange Bowl?
I thought we had an opportunity to. It's just a matter of how quick we could focus and stay attention to detail and eliminate clutter and play our game. I mean, we expect to be good every time we played, and hopefully it could have even been sooner than that. But we had things in position, and our guys have done a great job. They've bought in, and our assistant coaches have done a tremendous job. Our support staff, everybody here at A&M, the administration's given us things we need to do to be successful, and our players have done one heck of a job. This is a tremendous football team with great leadership who has done a great job with our young players, old players, and sending the message and selling the message of what we do, especially during this year with so much turmoil going through and so much change in our life and so much up and down. It's remarkable what they've done, but it doesn't surprise me because, listen, people are amazing when they want to be. When there's an urgency to do things, it's amazing what people can do. We've had the ability, and they're doing it now.
All right. Thanks. Next question for Chris Heidel.
Hey, Jimbo, it's Chris Heidel. How you doing?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Just talk about going to back to the Orange Bowl, and you actually are playing against North Carolina. You recruited Sam Howell to come to Florida State. What type of quarterback was he when you recruited him before you went off to College Station?
Well, we started, and then they picked it up. I didn't get in a lot of depth with Sam, but I had tremendous. He was one heck of a player. Guy can throw it, he can run, and it's amazing. Think of the amount of success he's had in 2 years. I mean, to be able to jump in like he did last year as a freshman, I think it was 35, 36 touchdowns last year. That's, man, I don't care. That's hard to do as a senior. Most guys can't do that. I mean, he is a tremendous football, tremendous leader, but he's not the only guy they got to. I mean, they can run the foot. They ran for 500 and some yards last game. The defense, what Mack has done there has been amazing. They throw it around. Coordinator does a great job. I know all those guys. So, I mean, Sam is but he's the key to the drill and makes them go. And he's made a lot of big plays and going to be a heck of a challenge to stop him or try to at least contain him. You're never going to stop him.
Thanks, Jimbo. Happy holidays.
Thank you. You too.
All right. We have less than 5 minutes left. Jeff, you got another follow-up question?
Yeah, I do. Jimbo, I hate to go back to this, but just you brought it up yesterday and today. Just the two teams above you, Notre Dame and Ohio State. Ohio State's got 6 games played. Notre Dame got beat 34-10. Which one of those would you left out for you to go to 4?
Oh, I have no idea. To break it all down. And I just felt strong about our players and what we did. And listen, they made good choices. Those teams are very deserving. They have nothing against that. I thought we were deserving. And that's what happens when you got a lot of teams are deserving and only so many spots. You have to make a choice. And the committee made a choice. That's their choice. We'll move on. I have no idea which one you take out or which one you put in or if you put us in. I just felt strongly about our team and what we have done. I'm very proud of them and what they've accomplished, but I have no idea. I can't answer that.
Our next question for Chuck.
Jimbo, I was just curious with what you've gone through, you know, being in that discussion as this played out and being in a New Year's Six Bowl, the Orange Bowl, what does this do for your program in year 3 and going forward?
Well, I think it shows the trajectory we're on, what we're trying to accomplish, that we are being relevant in the national conversations and where we're going. Our brand is becoming a national brand and the things we do, which I think you have to do in today's game. We got a great state here in Texas we want to recruit the heck out of, but we also got to brand ourselves nationally across the board. And I think it sends a sign to players out there that, hey, A&M is on the rise. We're doing the things we need to do to have success. And this is a tremendous program, and hopefully they want to come be a part of it.
All right, last question, Jeff. Go ahead.
Didn't know my hand was still raised. I apologize.
So you don't? Okay.
Take my hand down.
Okay, sounds good. So it looks like that's all the questions we have. Thanks, Coach Fisher. We appreciate it. We'll see you in South Florida in a couple weeks.
Thank you, gentlemen. Everybody have a Merry Christmas. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, that concludes today's press conference. Just as a reminder, don't forget to apply for credentials on orangebowl.org before the deadline this Wednesday, and we will be sending out today's transcripts shortly. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.